Ever since I was a little girl, I had this dream. One day, I become the superhero in my very own fairy tale.
Hello? See, I got a problem here. It's a 3-person wreck. Only 2 accounted for.
Any news? We need something to read.
It's a missing persons case. Suspicious circumstances.
Every time I opened my eyes, I found myself in a new place.
Did you talk to her friends?
What happened? Where is she?
When will you stop looking for her?
When we find her.
My wounds were healing quickly. When you're a superhero, sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for, because one day, it may come true. I can fly.
Her passport. It's not here. She's alive.
Be invisible.
I called in the accident.
The bruises that he has, they're not from the accident.
Where is she?
Is she okay?
Fairy tale garden.
Fairy Tale Garden.
Hi, Mitry.
Hello, Davison. How are you?
I am fine. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I have to tell you, this film, with every frame, this film was made with love. There is no question about it. From beginning to end, this is magical. It is emotionally transcendent. It is stunning.
I'm so humbled, so thankful for your comment. And yes, and yes. Thank you.
I mean, it, I know the story behind it, what led you to this, and I firmly believe that your daughter was guiding your hand through every step of this picture.
She is with me right now also, guiding me through this talk. And she has been from day one when this happened. And it's just a matter of recognizing, reading the signs, and just aligning.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. The signs are always there if we just open our eyes and our hearts to them. And this film definitely does that. I'm very curious. Did you find this film in any way cathartic for you, be it as you were writing it or when you actually started production? Because while this is inspired by a true story, there are elements that are the truth was there in front of your face as you're shooting, as you're watching it, as you're in post-production. I'm curious if this was cathartic for you in any way, so it allowed you to become even closer with your daughter.
No question about it, Davison. No question about it. It was cathartic. And I would even say it went in stages where it first started when I started to write the script without knowing where it was going to take me.
Mm-hmm.
And I started feeling more than ever my daughter's presence as I was writing the script. And it is inspired. It is not based on true events, because the true events is the girl got in a car crash and she died. That's
right.
The truth. The inspiration is the girl never died, and she's still with us, and she's helping all of us make this world a better place, as cliche as it may sound.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was definitely extremely healing, therapeutic, and cathartic. In fact, when I finished writing the script, I started crying so much because I didn't want it to let go. I didn't want to let go of that experience of being part of the script, even though a lot of it was not factual as we know in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the script was finished and we got into pre-production and production and then post-production, I had to separate myself a little bit. But, Hollywood has this tendency of kind of training you to be a little bit strong with this, because it's just the things that you have to go through in order to get the movie onto the screen. And I had to distance myself a little bit from being a grieving father and become a film director. Now, were there moments on the set, were there moments in pre-production, production where I lost it? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is there were, but I tried never showing that to the cast and crew while that was happening. I either would have to excuse myself or it would happen internally.
Mm-hmm. Well, talking about shooting this film, it is exquisite. Your production values are incredible. They are your visual tonal bandwidth, your visual storytelling is exquisite. What you and Pablo do with the camera and the lighting is stunning. The delicacy that we feel when we go into the fairy tale garden or into a teenage girl's bedroom, with twinkle lights and fairy lights, and then you counter that with the darkness of Martin and Sylvia's home, that there's negative space and there's shadow that is hanging like a cloud over their lives. I love how the visuals are a page of the storytelling here. I'm very curious how you and Pablo created the visual design, the construct of this film.
I first of all, I have to tell you that I am so incredibly fortunate to have met Pablo, and now we're very, very close friends. And he's like a family to me. And his artistry, he approaches things in such an incredible artistic level. Mm-hmm. That from the standpoint of how do we want the audience to feel, and the feeling was the primal emotion that we went from. How do we want people to feel in this moment? And you hit the nail on the head by saying the light and the rooms. And so Pablo brought on board Marcos Cato, who is our production designer, and three of us, we were just on the same page. I would transcend the feeling that would have to go there, and I would tell him how I would see it, and Pablo would say, "That's great, but what if we do this?" Mm-hmm. And it was truly pure collaborative work, and for me, an incredible learning experience working with a master like Pablo. Of course, later on, Juan, who we brought in to color this, and who Pablo kindly introduced me to, brought in even to the next level as far as the coloring, as far as the light and the visuals are concerned. And that's how we very, very slowly we weaved this necklace, pearl by pearl, so to speak.
The coloring is stunning, Mitry, absolutely stunning. And you really get to see that in Dean's loft apartment in Los Angeles, because you have the great big windows, you have the brick. They really get to play, and that creates some beautiful bluish tinged shadows at moments with the red from the brick, with steel, with the length and the height of the room. Just absolutely, the coloring is just stunning on this film. That really, really captivated me. And of course, then you contrast that with the simple beauty of nature, the greens of the accident site, the trees, the water, even. So we get reality and fantasy almost all blended together. And color is such a big part of that. And what he does, John and Pablo, to complement Marcos's beautiful production design, to go from the heaviness of Martin and Sylvia's house to the lightness of a bedroom to the openness yet clunkily placed configuration of Dean's apartment, creating all these walls and passages that he's trying to build up around himself. So well done.
Thank you so very much. Absolutely. What Marcus has created as far as production designer, this film is done on a shoestring budget.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very low budget film, but Dean's apartment, just behind the scenes, this is done in the parking lot. It's a warehouse. It's a warehouse.
Oh my goodness.
That Marcus created in 3 hours.
Oh my God.
Yes.
You talk about magic. There is magic in every element of this film. That is incredible, Mitry.
Yes, people have asked me, where do you get a loft like this in LA? And I always tell them it's a parking lot of a studio.
Oh my God. That is true magic. Because it's stunning. I wouldn't mind living there.
Yes, when you look at it, yes, absolutely. And and this is true for every single aspect of this production, from the moment the script was written all the way to right now, me sitting talking to you.
How challenging was the editing process on this film? Because you could very easily, there's a great balance here. The pacing is very even, and you really hit those emotional beats that elevate us. And just when we think we might give up hope, we get uplifted again. And what you and Antonio have done, your editor, Antonio Gomez Pon, beautifully done from an editing standpoint. So I'm wondering how challenging that process was for the two of you to find the right beat of this film, almost like a heartbeat.
I have to say that, when you do a low-budget film, you only get X amount of days. There's no more pickups. Oh, and you cannot do this, and you cannot do this anymore, and that you cannot go to ADR, and what you have is what you have. So for me, it was very important to find a right editor for this. And Antonio and I, we clicked from the very beginning. And Antonio is a storyteller. So for me, my process as a director, I try to stay as far back from every department as I can. And then once they're done, I look at it and I say, okay, this is what's missing for me, and that's what's missing for me, and that's what will help me with pacing in this. But we actually cut out a 12-minute storyline out of a film that you do not see because it was not fitting. But Antonio did such an amazing job with this film. In fact, what he did was I let him cut the film without looking at it at all. I actually said, give me a film. And he made a Netflix experience for me. So when he finished cutting the film, he invited me over. He said, have a glass of wine, sit down. He put a logo of a big studio, and he actually ran the whole film for me. We did it like a movie night.
Wow.
And the way, of course, it was very different the way I saw it, but I saw what he wanted to say with this and how he wanted to say it and how this tied into that and so on and so forth and how it all brought it together. Because, you know, you have a script when you write it, you have a film when you shoot it, and you have a different film when you cut it. And when I looked at it, I knew, first of all, that I made the right choice. Antonio was absolutely brilliant. And then him and I, we sat down, and for about a month, we went at it full day, every day. We went at it, and we just really defined the moments. But Antonio got the gist of the film immediately. And for me, it was very important. And I knew, just like with Pablo and Marcos, and with Pancho, who did the music, they were the right guys. And all I would have to do is just say, okay, this needs a little, this doesn't really work right here, and we need to somehow change this, and this shot we need to change. But ultimately, my hat is off to Antonio because he did absolutely an amazing job with what we had.
It's, you know, it's beautiful, but as I said, it's very evenly paced. So that you never, this is a story, this is a film that could so easily send us all into despair. But just when we're losing hope, something comes along and we're uplifted again. And we keep getting uplifted. And we keep seeing Angie, you know, her fairy tale is to be a superhero. And every life she's touching, we are seeing her superhero powers unfold and be transmitted to all the people she loves. And it's just beautiful the way that you have done this, that Antonio has found that rhythm. You know, and I have to think that your training as a classical pianist also helped you significantly in finding those moments, those heartbeats that you wanted to see.
Absolutely. You know, again, you're 100% right. It's, you know, at the end of the day, is how do we want to feel after this film? And pacing is everything. And having the opportunity to work with somebody like Pancho, who just got it, and you know, to come up with such a brilliant soundtrack that will hit you on that vibrational level and will drop you when you need it to be dropped, and then lift you back up when you wanted that hope and you wanted those goosebumps.
Yeah, the score, the composition is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And the fact that the majority of it is piano is just that the piano, the use of just the piano in so many instances, including that climactic third act where we see Dean at the piano, is so powerful. So often people will just use little bits of piano to accentuate a motif or something. But here it's very prevalent. And it has, because a lot of the composition sounds like it's in a higher register. So it almost sounds angelic at times.
Yes, you couldn't have said it better. Absolutely. And, you know, the last piece was the hardest one to do. And again, you know, we Pancho and I, we sat down at night and we worked really like for 6-7 hours, and we just got this thing done, and it was right. And you know, again, my hat is off to Pancho because he got the film, he got the emotion, and he got that pacing, and he got those visuals, and he really fell in love with the story and with the Angie. Ultimately, that love in his music transcended onto the screen.
Mm-hmm. Did you write any of the music in this film, given your background?
I wrote 2 themes. The theme that Dean plays in the house, and the theme that the Angel song that Angie wrote. I wrote those 2 themes.
They're beautiful. The angel theme is gorgeous. It is ethereal.
Oh, thank you very, very much.
It really is. I mean, that, I would love to see and hear that composition pulled out as a music video, and just do a, even if you use images of your own daughter as a tribute to her, and just do a music video of that angel composition, because it's so emotional and so ethereally stunning.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Mitry, how difficult was the casting of this film? Your cast, the younger actors, are incredible. They create a wonderful ensemble. And then you anchor this with your veterans, Bruce and Joanna. But I have to wonder how difficult the casting was for this film to get the right combination of people to fill this world.
It was challenging, I'll be very honest with you, because I knew what I wanted, and I had a feeling of what would hit it. And, they say that 90% of success for a film, when you have everything, is casting. Mm-hmm. And we didn't have a casting director. And believe it or not, for the role of the kids, 14,500 people applied.
Oh!
14,500, I'm not lying to you. And knowing that we paid absolutely nothing. Well, the ultra low SAG, whatever
right.
it is, like $125 per day. And we gave it a look at all of them. But not, obviously, they sent in the auditions. We couldn't
right.
get many people. But with probably I will never get this again in the film, or not anytime in the near future, but I had full artistic control on this one. Oh. And, for me, the hardest part and the most important part to cast, of course, was the part of Angie.
Yes.
And when Emma walked into the room, I just knew. It's hard to explain, because I always go with a feeling. Mm-hmm. And this vibrancy, and I just knew that she was the right one. And to myself, I was saying, oh, please read well, because this is exactly what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. And she actually was much better than what I could have ever imagined would be. I thought she was absolutely terrific. Now, and then, you take her, and then you take somebody like Bruce and Joanna. And when you're doing indie filmmaking on the budget we were doing, we didn't cast Bruce or Joanna until we already started shooting.
Wow.
Yeah. And it just, again, it's magic. It all came together. And it's just all the cards laid at the right place. And that kind of happened. And the casting was not an exception. And honestly, I look at all of my actors in this film, and I say, I would not recast at all. These are the guys, they would play this part.
Yeah. No, I can't. You don't have a loose thread in the bunch. You really don't. As you well know, so many times you can look at a film and, yeah, everything looks good. Everybody looks perfect in their roles, but for one person or two people. That's not the case here.
I did have one condition with all the actors who accepted. I said, I'm going to send you a script. You read it and you tell me what you think about it. And for all of them, it was a labor of love. And, and they gave 110%, all of them. And I think you can feel this as an audience when you watch this, that they're in the right place.
Mm-hmm. I've got to ask you, Mitry, because this is your first feature film. And this is a very daring and brave film to jump into as your first feature. So I'm curious, from a filmmaking standpoint, what did you learn as a director making this film that you can now take into future features, which I sure as heck hope you're going to be making.
Oh, thank you very, very much. The number one thing that I've learned is the importance of the word patience. You have to be patient, and you have to allow things to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when things are not happening, does not mean they're not happening. It's just a pause. And do not. I've learned not to stay true to your vision, and to just stay the course. True to your vision, stay the course. Have a lot of patience, and you will be there.
Well, you have brought us a truly beautiful, beautiful film with My True Fairytale. It's not often you can be inspired by something that is so tragic and so sad, and not many people can find the positivity, the hope, and the joy that can come out of that. And you have done it beautifully, and you have turned that into emotional resonance through sight, sound, performance. Just a wonderful job, Mitry.
Well, thank you so very much, Evelyn, for your kind words.
Oh, Mitry, this has been such a privilege talking to you about this film today.
I appreciate that very much, and I really hope it makes people just pick up the phone and call their close one, loved ones, say I love you, and those ones who are not with them still turn and say I love you, and just feel them next to them.
Thank you so, so, so much. I can't wait to talk to you again in the future about another project.
Oh, me neither. I'm sending you a big, big hug.
Oh, right back at you, Mitry. Thank you so much.